University of Florida, majoring in soil and water science, minoring in computer and information science, and earning her certificate in artificial intelligence fundamentals. We all know about AI. At UF, she served on the Girls Who Code Executive Board, launched the university's first women's hackathon, and led an all-female team that won first place at the People's Choice Award at UF's 2023 All Days Hackathon. You're gonna have to tell me what the hackathon is. Tanya is now pursuing her master's in applied data science at the University of Southern California, where she continues to blend data, technology, and environmental science to make a difference. Please join me in welcoming Anya Chara.
Maybe class of 2027, how do we feel? Okay, you can do better than that, yes! Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Tanya, and I'm a graduate of Seminole High School IB class of 2020. And before you ask, yes, I'm from the class of 2020. We missed out on prom and a real graduation, and yes, we still complain about it to this day. It is surreal to be in this auditorium tonight because I remember being in your shoes exactly 7 years ago, feeling both excited and nervous about the future ahead. I am elated and honored to be here with you as we celebrate and induct the IB class of 2027. Before I go further, I'd like to say a huge thank you to Mrs. Robin McCarter, Principal Michael Pfeiffer, and the rest of the IB faculty and alumni who have made this day possible. I wholeheartedly believe that the quality of my Seminole High School education is unmatched, and if you're like me, you will take an engineering communications class as an undergraduate, peer review your classmates' essays, and ask yourself, how on earth did they pass English 101? I also know that we are joined tonight by the parents and families of the class of 2027. I feel that we are all mosaics of the people who taught us, believed in our potential, encouraged us to take risks, nurtured our curiosities, and allowed us to dream big. I myself would not be the person I am today without the love and encouragement of my own parents, grandparents, brother, and teachers. Sometime tonight, please take a moment to thank those who have supported your journey thus far in the IB program. So, to share a little bit about myself, I graduated from Seminole High School 5 years ago, and I spent my time in the pre-DP and DP in a variety of after-school clubs and activities, as my mom is definitely aware with all the rides I needed after school. This included Girls Who Code, the Technology Student Association, Science National Honor Society, the National Honor Society, and Beta Chi. I volunteered at the Seminole County Public Library, did a year-long internship with SCPS's ePathways Department, and attended the Student Science Training Program Summer Camp at the University of Florida. I eventually chose to attend the University of Florida, which I recently graduated from last year, with my BS in Soil and Water Science and a water concentration, a minor in Computer and Information Science and Engineering, and a certificate in Artificial Intelligence Fundamentals. My IB education opened doors for me I never knew existed and gave me the confidence to try new things. I spent my time at UF following my passions for science and technology, and some of the notable things I've done are lead the only all-female team in attendance to win first place in the People's Choice Award at UF's annual AI Hackathon, meet the co-founders of NVIDIA, attend technology conferences like Grace Hopper Celebration on Scholarship, intern at a Fortune 500 company, and participate in cutting-edge research alongside industry experts. I followed my passion for technology to the University of Southern California, where I'm currently en route to completing my master's in applied data science. The IB program is unique from a traditional high school experience, and you may have already felt that in the pre-DP program. The program's emphasis on inquiry, knowledge, and critical thinking serves as the blueprint in building the next wave of visionaries, dreamers, and achievers. In fact, whether you realize it or not, you probably apply values from the IB Learner profile in your everyday life. Attributes such as open-mindedness, care, and reflection serve as the pillars for being a valuable global citizen and member of your community. Now, I have to be frank. The world you are growing up in is different from the world I grew up in. Besides the subtle changes like the ninth graders now being on a different campus, courses being changed and renamed, and faculty coming and going, perhaps the most important and stark change of all is the advent of artificial intelligence. So, as someone who studies subjects like AI and machine learning at the graduate level, I actually think it's interesting and important to note that the field of AI research has technically existed since the 1950s. However, things like large language models, deep learning, and neural networks are advancing and accelerating at record paces. As global citizens, you have every right to be concerned. I'm sure your teachers have warned you about how tempting it may be to cheat with AI and how you should not do it. And I'm sure you've even seen the ways that AI can be used to spread misinformation, or even the ways AI is changing the environment. However, AI is a double-edged sword. Scientists have been able to use AI to analyze medical images to make more accurate diagnoses, model the future of climate change, and prevent deadly cyber attacks. So, even if the world is changing, the one thing which will remain consistent is the value of your IB education. Why is it so important for you to solve complicated calculus problems in math? Why is it so important to understand physics concepts or the different parts of the human body? Why is it so important to learn about the history of our world? Why is it so important to be able to read a piece of writing and understand what it means? Why is it so important to communicate with people across different regions and cultures? Why is it so important to question everything around you? The reason why is because your IB education is training you to be the next generation of independent, critical thinkers, innovators, and doers. And these are the exact things that AI is not capable of doing. Once you step into the real world, will you be able to identify when a piece of media is disinformation? Will you be able to take in different pieces of facts and figures to make the best decisions? And can you identify ways we can ethically leverage emerging technologies to benefit humanity? Your journey in the IB program really starts here, and I would be lying if I said it was an easy path. President John F. Kennedy famously said in his Rice University speech, "We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard." Now, in his case, he was referencing the United States' need to beat the scientific, political, and economic space race against the Soviet Union. You completing your IB diploma probably does not feel as dramatic as going to the moon, but the principle still stands. If you're going to be the next generation of global thinkers and doers, the best way to prepare yourselves for those roles is to gain all the tools and knowledge you can now, even if it's not easy. After all, the hardest journeys often prepare us for the greatest impact. As an IB student, you will inevitably face long nights juggling buckets of homework. You will inevitably miss out on things here and there because school is taking up your priorities. And you will inevitably spend school breaks doing nothing but sleeping in. And if you don't play your cards right, you may start to feel overwhelmed and burnt out. But for a second, think about who you were when you started ninth grade and who you are now. You are so extraordinary, and I can say that because you've already reached the halfway point. So, even if your workload is increasing, I think it's also safe to say that your capacity to handle large workloads efficiently has improved with experience. And I know this all seems scary, but to the IB class of 2027, I want you to take a moment to look left and look right. These are your peers. Now, take a look besides me at your faculty and staff. These are your mentors and teachers. And now take a look behind you at your parents. All of these individuals only want to see you succeed. And if you ever feel stuck, don't be afraid to reach out to your community for help, because at no point will you ever do this alone. We all see and hear the news, and we're aware of the ways the world is changing, for better or for worse. But again, even as the world shifts in unprecedented ways, your education is the one thing no one can take from you and will still hold value. I cherish my time in the IB program because it not only gave me lifelong friends, but it also shaped who I am now as an adult and how I approach the world. I urge you to leave the IB program with the responsibility to make the world a better place. And if I could leave you with a few final pieces of advice, act with empathy and kindness and make decisions which will benefit the greater good. Take every opportunity you can to help others. Approach the world with an open mind and treat people with respect. Take risks and do big things, even if they scare you. You might make mistakes, but what defines you more is not the mistake itself, but instead the way you pick yourself up and learn from that experience. Don't mind the opinions of those who don't know you well. Stand up for the values that you believe in. Express gratitude for the places and people who shaped you. Never turn down an opportunity to further education and learn something new. Oh, and don't procrastinate on your extended essay. Now, I don't know what the future looks like, and no machine learning algorithm or AI chatbot can say the same with absolute certainty. What I can say is that I know I'm in a room filled with the next generation of leaders and dreamers, and I'm certain that with your passion, intellect, and curiosity, the future feels very bright. Congratulations to the IB class of 2027, and let me be one of the first to say, welcome to the IB program. Thank you.